Okay, so there's this huge shift happening right now in the world of AI hardware, and you've got to see what's going on. It's all being driven by one company, Nvidia. See, they're not just selling the most powerful chips anymore. No, they're completely changing the game, the very foundation of how AI servers get built and sold. Let's get into it.
Analysts over at JP Morgan are calling it Jensen's master plan of vertical integration. And wow, that phrase, it just nails it, right? This isn't just some small product update, we're talking about a full-on strategic conquest.
So what is all the fuss about? Well, here's the bottom line. Nvidia is apparently getting ready to sell the entire compute core of an AI server as one single pre-built unit. We're moving away from a world of buying individual parts to a world of buying complete NVIDIA-made systems.
Yeah, we're talking about a tectonic shift in the AI hardware supply chain. Nvidia is climbing up the value chain, and believe me, it's pulling the entire industry right along with it.
So the plan, and this is starting with their next-gen Vera Rubin platform, is to ship their partners a fully assembled and fully tested server tray. Just think of it like the engine of the server, delivered completely ready to go, straight from the Nvidia factory.
All right, so what is this new thing? Let's take a closer look and break down what they're calling the L10 compute tray. The L10 compute tray is basically that server engine we were just talking about. It's the heart, the brain, the whole shebang of an AI server, all prepackaged into one single module. It's a fully tested unit with all the critical guts, designed to be just slotted right into a server rack. Easy.
And you have to see how much they're packing into this thing. We're talking their next-gen Vera CPU and Rubin GPUs, all the memory, the networking cards, the power delivery hardware, and even the super sophisticated liquid cooling cold plates. It's literally everything that actually matters for performance.
And this, right here, this shows you just how big of a deal this is. The old way, right? Nvidia sells the components, and then their partners, the big manufacturers, they do all the complicated, super expensive work of designing and building the server core. But the new way? Nvidia does all that heavy lifting itself.
And here's the kicker. This L10 tray, the part Nvidia is now going to control, well, it's estimated to make up a staggering 90% of a server's total cost. So yeah, this is not some minor tweak to their business model. This is huge.
Now this all raises a pretty big question. Why? Why would Nvidia make such a dramatic switch? Well, it really boils down to two main things. It's a technical necessity, and it's an absolutely brilliant business move.
First up, the technical challenge. Just look at the insane amount of power these things are starting to consume. The Blackwell Ultra GPU already pulls 1.4 kilowatts. The upcoming Rubin R200, that jumps to 1.8, and there are whispers of another one that could hit 2.3 kilowatts. That's a mind-boggling amount of power and heat to deal with.
You see, all that power creates these massive engineering headaches. Designing motherboards and cooling systems that can handle that kind of heat is just becoming way too complex and way too expensive for individual companies to figure out on their own. So Nvidia is basically stepping in and saying, "Don't worry, we got this." And that, of course, leads right into their business case. By providing this standardized, pre-built solution, they make life way simpler for their partners. They drastically slash the time it takes to get new servers to market, they lower the overall production costs thanks to their massive scale, and, of course, they get to capture a much, much bigger slice of the profit pie.
So what does this actually do to the supply chain? Well, this move completely reshuffles the deck. It creates a brand new ecosystem, and it changes the roles and the profits for pretty much everyone involved.
Here's the absolute bottom line for Nvidia's partners, the companies we call ODMs, or Original Design Manufacturers. Their job is changing, fundamentally. They're not really system designers anymore, they're becoming system integrators. And you can see that shift so clearly right here. Nvidia becomes the system designer. They handle the core compute and the cooling, the most valuable and difficult parts. Their partners are now left with system integration, which is basically building the metal box and doing the final assembly. And the result? Nvidia's profit margin goes way up, while the partners' margins, well, they get trimmed. So what's actually left for the partners to do? They'll still build the outer chassis, they'll integrate the power supplies, handle the big rack-level cooling, add their own management software, and do the final assembly and testing. Now, these are important jobs, for sure, but they aren't where the real product differentiation happens anymore.
So now that this new reality is sitting in,
what happens next? What does this all mean for the future of AI hardware?
The biggest takeaway is this. The heart of the AI server, that core compute engine, is now effectively a standardized part, a commodity. And it's a commodity that's produced and controlled by Nvidia. They are setting the standard that the entire industry is now going to have to build around.
And you know, this wasn't some sudden decision. Not at all. It's the logical endpoint of a strategy that they put in motion almost a decade ago. It started back in 2016 with the full DGX-1 racks. Then it evolved to the advanced boards we see in the GB200 platform today. And now it's leading to these L10 trays with Vera Rubin. So you have to ask, what's the next logical step? Entire rack-scale solutions sold as a single product? It seems likely.
And that leaves us with one final and kind of provocative question. First, they move from chips to server cores. The next step could very well be entire racks. It really makes you wonder just how much of the AI world does Nvidia plan to build all by itself?